Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to dive into a bit of a different genre of Megden from the last games I've covered. Today I want to highlight the Lost Bible games. These games are a niche among the community as a whole. Not a lot of people have run them or even played them. I think they're amazing runs, and today I want to showcase some of the tricks and strategies used, which may also help you on your casual playthroughs. Remember to follow for more Megden content and leave a comment if you've ever played the Lost Bible game. This video contains some spoilers for bosses in Lost Bible 1, but no spoilers for Lost Bible 2 or 3, so if you haven't played those games and want to, do not worry. So without further ado, let's start with Lost Bible 1. Lost Bible 1 was originally released for the Game Boy Color in 1992, being truly one of the first Gaiden games for the Megami Tensei series. It was re-released in 1994 for the Game Gear, this version vastly expanding the story and graphics, and then again in 1999 to the Game Boy Color as a version that would become Revelations: The Demon Slayer in North America. This version is basically the same as the Game Boy Color version, adding simply a wider palette of colors, but also some minor random changes to the game. Some of these changes are adding default names to your characters, increasing the dropped money and EXP for virtually every fight, and lowering the encounter rate, but also raising the HP of every boss fight. The most notable example being the last boss fight, Lucifer, whose HP went from 4,200 to 7,560, nearly double. And I'll hone in on this one, as this is worth pointing out, because Lucifer has a spell called Holy 4. Those who have played the Lost Bible games are familiar with the holy spells. These are basically the attacks that take one or more turns to charge and then deal a lot of damage. Think of them as the Lost Bible Megiddo. So as we're pretty low level for the speedrun, even with the strongest armor, the human character cannot withstand a Holy 4 cast by its Lucifer. So if you see him charge up, it's a race against the clock to see who dies first. But back to the games. The world record for the Game Boy Color version is 1 hour 27 minutes and 30 seconds, which is fairly fast. This was done on the original Japanese version of the game, as the American localization made the font too big, which increased the number of text boxes and therefore made the game overall slower. Also, as of now, there are unfortunately no recorded speedruns of the Game Gear version of the game, which I assume is the one most people are familiar with. So going forward, I'll share my knowledge, which is mostly based on the Game Boy and Game Boy Color versions. So let's start with Recruitments. Most people upon trying the game will point out Recruitments feel very arbitrary in this game. This is because the negotiation outcomes in Lost Bible 1 are dependent on the type of demon you're talking to. There are 11 types of monsters in the game, qualified as types A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, X, Y, and Z. The X monsters are humanoids, the Y monsters are demonoids, and the Z demons are boss fights, so these can never be recruited. The H demons are only Slime and Lich, which I guess really don't want to be your friend because they also can never be recruited. But what about the other 7 types? You can recruit monsters that are up to 5 levels higher than yours. More than that, and they'll tell you that your guy is weak and to go kick rocks. Then as you engage with a monster, you can get one of the free starting dialogue options, which will set a pattern for negotiation. These patterns of negotiation will not change between versions of the game, so you can expect the same behavior across all 3 versions. So the patterns are you the one going around killing monsters? I'm saved. If you want to talk to me, would you please lower your weapon? And do you want me to join you? Then you need to know the type of your demon. Nothing in-game will tell you the type of the demon, and going off of the demon design is quite unreliable. Lemurs and Shiva are both type A, for example. What do they even have in common? So if you really need to recruit monsters, my best recommendation is to look up a list of demons sorted by their type. Then we break down the patterns. For pattern 1, which I'll name Are You the One Going Around Killing Monsters as pattern 1. For type A and type B demons, the correct answers are yes, yes, no, no. For type C, it's yes, 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 yes. For type D and type E, it's yes, no, no, no. For type F, it's no, yes, yes, yes. For type G, it's no, yes, no, no. So as you can see, you have 4 questions for every recruitment, and you just have to say these answers, and that will always guarantee that you recruit a demon. For pattern 2, I'm safe. If you want to talk to me, would you please use your weapon? For type A and type B, the correct answers are no, yes, no, yes. For type C, it's no, yes, yes, yes. For type D and type E, it's no, no, yes, no. For type F, it's yes, no, yes, no. And for type G, it's yes, no, no, yes. And finally, pattern 3, do you want me to join you? For type A and type B, the correct answers are no, no, yes, no. For type C, it's no, 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 yes. For type D and type C, it's no, yes, no, no. For type F, it's yes, yes, no, yes. And for type G, it's yes, 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 no. Should be noted that type C, D, E, and F can also have alternative dialogue that work as well, but the ones I said should always result in a successful negotiation. Other than these, there are 2 more methods of recruiting monsters. Negotiating by talking with one of the other human characters, and negotiating by talking with one of the monsters in your party. The likelihood of recruitment with one of the human characters is based on this equation. Human's intelligence minus monster's intelligence plus 5, times a correction value. This correction value is randomly assigned to you when the conversation begins, and you can verify which one you get depending on what the monster says. Speaking with either the male or female character will result in a different dialogue line, and each of them has 4 options, resulting in a correction value of 0.5, 1, 1.5, or 2. If your equation results in a value between 10 and 20, then the negotiation will be a success. So if your character's intelligence is 20 points higher than the demon's, then the negotiation will always be a success. Finally, you can do monster-on-monster negotiation. The results are based on the type compatibility of the monster, plus the difference of their intelligence values. This table from @wiki outlines the base probability of the recruitment based on their types. So if you have a type A demon and talk to a type A demon, then you have a base 75% chance of recruiting it. On the other hand, if you have a type A demon and try to talk to a type E demon, they really don't like that and your base probability is 0%. But that doesn't mean it's impossible, as the difference between their intelligence stats is also relevant. A difference of 3 to -3 points doesn't add any likelihood of success, but if their stats differ in more than 10 points, then your chances increase by 20%. This works in reverse as well, so if the opposing demon is much smarter than yours, then your chances plummet. This method of negotiation was not carried over to its sequels, Lost Bible 2 and Lost Bible 3, as they added some more variables and unpredictability to the recruitments. However, it shows up exactly the same in Lost Bible New Testament 1, 2, and 3, with similar dialogue lines and most demons even having the same types. The game is pretty straightforward, with no major glitches or tricks to exploit, and some pretty RNG heavy fights. For any playthrough, it's recommended to collect all the Kirin and Dragon Bones, and to recruit Cerberus and Orphus to then fuse Soul Lion, which are some of the strongest monsters in the game. So that's about all I want to touch on Lost Bible 1, so let's move on to Lost Bible 2. Lost Bible 2 is an overall improvement over its prequel. They add the option to guard other party members in battles, a moon cycle, and the negotiations are now changed, which sucks for speedruns. But it's all good because we don't require a lot of demons since this game has a wide cast of characters that you play with during the main story. When you need to get demons, here's how the negotiation mechanics work. You can still recruit demons up to 5 levels higher than you. With the introduction of a moon cycle system, as in other Megaten games, negotiations always fail on full moon. Negotiations are also now on the clock, so if you take too long deciding what to say, the monsters get impatient, or the negotiation can automatically fail. You can once again initiate a negotiation with the protagonist, one of the other humans, or a monster. If you negotiate with the protagonist, then you get to experience a classic choose your own adventure experience. Instead of the answers being tied to a type of the demon, they're interconnected with each other in 2 different trees of answers. Here's a helpful graphic from @wiki. In pattern 1, if you get the line 0 and say yes, it will always lead to line 1. If you say no, it will always lead to line 13. In situation, if you time out, it will lead to line 15. But on line 1, if you time out or say yes, it's an automatic failure. You can trace the path of what are the correct answers given your initial route, but literally who would be able to do that in a casual playthrough? So they might as well be random. If you begin the conversation with one of the other humans, then just like in Lost Bible 1, the negotiation outcome is dependent on the base probability that's randomly picked, which you can see based on what the demon says, and an added probability that's calculated from a difference of the human's intelligence stat and the monster's intelligence stat. Some demons have a higher average probability than others. Demons are always more likely to join if you talk to them with the heroine or Ganzu compared to partner or claw. Moreover, Larsa has a 100% guaranteed chance of having the demon join. And when it comes to monster-on-monster conversations, the probability is once again related to the compatibility of monsters, with the added chance depending on the difference of their intelligence stats. Another mechanic they introduced were eggs. Different from Pokemon, eggs hatch when you guard them in battle and take the damage for them. The equivalent damage is added to the egg's HP until it meets the expected HP of its unhatched form and you get a demon. So if you have an egg that will hatch into a cockatrice with 120 HP and you guard them in battle and take 120 damage for them, it'll hatch right there and then mid-battle. But if they take damage before they've hatched, their HP will go back to 1 and you have to keep guarding them if you want them to hatch. But their HP never goes below 1. So you know what that means. Eggs are the perfect meat shields. You can get 5 of them throughout the game, and if you summon them above your character, they are more likely to be hit and will absorb all damage for you. In the speedrun, we even fight the final boss fight with 3 humans in the back and 3 eggs in the front. This might sound broken, but it's just an alternate way of playing throughout the game, and intended for all intents and purposes. But when it comes to Easter eggs, Lost Bible 2 has quite a couple to offer. In any battle, you can hold select while choosing an attack normal with any character, and this will make them use a special skill without it costing MP. You can also do this while autoing by holding select and choosing auto. This is how basically every fight is completed in the speedrun. If you name your character I'm Pon, or Pondes in Japanese, your character will start the game with a base attack and defense values of a 744, absolutely obliterating everything in its path. Alternatively, if you name it Monsters or Monsta in Japanese, the game won't begin and instead show you a list of every demon sprite in the game. There's even a way to get a bug demon. If you deposit a monster at the monster trainer and then try to retrieve it while holding select, your demon will be altered. I don't know what they had against the select button in these games. It's about to get way worse as we head to the next game. In Last Bible 3, they left a whole debug menu inside the game if you press select inside of a battle. That's right, if you press select during any battle, be it a random encounter or a boss fight, you'll open this little debug menu. Its purpose is honestly very confusing. You have 3 numbers that you can change. On the first screen you can change the first number by pressing A or B, and this will play a different battle animation. It won't actually do the corresponding attack. You can also change the offset from the demon by pressing left and right or up and down. If you press select again, you get to another number, which you can change to change the battle background. This only stays during the battle, so changing it won't actually transport you to somewhere else in the game. But finally, and the most baffling one by far, pressing select again will show you a list of numbers which correspond to the random encounters you're fighting. So by changing this number, you can actually transform any random encounter into whatever fight you want. You can change a goblin encounter to the last boss fight, you can fight enemies that aren't even official fights in the game, and they will behave exactly as if you hit the story trigger. Unfortunately, defeating them this way does not actually count the same as defeating them at the correct time in the game, otherwise we could just fight every fight in the game this way and beat the game in under an hour. But I mean, you're probably wondering how we'd even be able to defeat the last boss fight in the first area anyways. This is where Urine comes in. If you set the encounter ID to 450, this will match a demon that doesn't actually exist, that is, the ID is empty. So the game just makes up a demon with leftover information of other ones. Well, you can actually recruit this demon, and being a bug demon, it's ridiculously strong. Think of it as Last Bible 3's Mystic Gnome. The 80% speedrun recruits one and almost one-shots every fight using it because of its absurd stats. As expected, the game behaves a bit weirdly if you recruit Urine. If you recruit any other demon while having it in party, Urine will transform into that demon, allowing you to have 2 of the same demon, which aside from Demi-Kids, isn't really possible in any other entry of the series. Okay, hi, Unscripted Cyan here. I actually just want to add something to this whole Urine section. While I was gathering footage for this video, I actually found out that if you recruit Urine and then you go into the stats screen right away, it will completely bug out your game. Like, your entire party will turn into Sankies, and if you try to fight, you will immediately wipe. So don't do that. Recruit Urine and then get into a normal fight or get into a dungeon. Like, you have to change the setting in which you get it, and then the game should behave normally. Just don't go into the stat screen. Using this demon cloning, you can actually duplicate equipment as well. First, you want 2 clones of the same demon. Let's call them Demon A and Demon B. And you want to give the equipment you want to dupe to one of them, for example Demon A. Then fuse Demon A away with another random demon in your party. As a result, Demon A will turn into the fused demon and still have the equipment, which you can remove from him, but Demon B will also turn into a bug demon, which also has the equipment that you can remove, and now you've obtained 2 instances of the same equipment. You can repeat this over and over by cloning demons and equipment all you want. Why this debug menu exists is perhaps one of the biggest mysteries of Last Bible 3. It simply makes no sense why the developers would leave something like that in-game. So these are the main tricks and glitches of the main 3 Last Bible games that I wanted to showcase. I hope this gives some insight into the hidden mechanics of these games, and it will be helpful for any future playthroughs, or for anyone interested in learning how the speedruns get for these games. If you are interested in more Mega 10 content, remember to comment and follow for more. See you next time!